Good evening, everybody. This is Bronson's By Any Means Necessary Fantasy Basketball Talk for Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. This will be our first Waiver Wire Wednesday video for Fantasy Basketball of the year. We're pretty well into the year now, so we should have a pretty good idea of who's good and who's not at this point, right? So a lot of these guys, all these guys are owned in less than 50% of leagues, and a lot of them, currently are playing really well and should probably be owned, and some of them are playing out of their minds and should be definitely on more rosters. But before we get to that, obviously, I'm going to ramble about my life. Just got back from my trip to Tucson, Arizona. I've made 3 trips there in the last year after never going there before in my life. It's a place I always wanted to go. Always heard bad things about. Finally for myself, fell in love. Keep going back, keep falling more in love. I'm strongly considering moving there. I got two job offers while I was there, and I wasn't even actively trying to, I wasn't actively applying for these jobs. It was just coming up in conversation that I was looking to move there, blah blah blah, and I got these job offers, which is crazy because I've always been blessed. I'm always able to find jobs. Like, I've never had a problem not finding work. Dates, girlfriends, can't find one to save my life in this town, but jobs, never had a problem finding a job. So that's another reason I want to leave Portland. I'm getting fed up with, not having any success in the dating world. I'm getting fed up with, most of my time here, I haven't been driving, so it's like I haven't really gotten out and just kind of enjoyed, the Portland life anyways. And, I'm just, my parents are trying to leave the state of Oregon, a complicated relationship with my parents. I couldn't wait to get away from them, but I never wanted to move too super far away from them. It's nice to have that safety net, the biggest example is when my car breaks down, I need someone to tow it or something. I know my dad is semi close by. He's willing to help. If I move to Arizona while he's in Oregon, or I move to Arizona while he's in Montana, I'm not going to have that option anymore. I'm going to have to pay for AAA or pay for a tow truck to come tow it, and like a real adult, I guess. And I'm not looking forward to that because that's expensive. But yeah, I'm strongly considering it because I just, it's a place roughly the size of Portland, just like a well-kept secret, though. It's a kind of feels more like a small town. It's a big town, it feels like a small town, but it's a city that still has some personality, still has some culture, still has some, I really like the vibes there. People are really nice, really friendly. I like the weather. Obviously, I never really liked heat that much, but the dry heat I've discovered is a lot better than the heat that I'm used to. Lack of rain sounds nice. I have seasonal depression like a mofo. It'd be nice to go to a place where people haven't even heard of that. Seriously, I have conversations with people at the airport, Tucson Airport, and they're like, seasonal depression? I didn't know that was a real thing. I was like, yeah, if you live in a place like I live, seasonal depression is a real thing. It'd be nice to be in a community that's real outdoorsy, lots of outdoor stuff to do, year-round outdoor stuff to do, because it's nice outside all the time. It's just, I never really thought that I would think the desert like that was pretty, but I do. I think all that stuff is beautiful. It's just totally different from what I grew up around. And I haven't done a whole lot of searching, but the housing, apartments and houses to rent are a lot cheaper there. I found a couple of places today when I was just browsing for a couple of minutes. 3-bedroom houses that are less in rent for the entire house than I pay for my 1-bedroom here with roommates here in Vancouver. So, I mean, if I can go get a whole house to myself, 3 bedrooms, don't have to split it with any roommates, cheaper than I can get here. I mean, what am I waiting for, right? Especially since I got 2 job offers. One of them is basically the same job I do now, working at the airport there in Tucson, delivering, warehousing stuff for restaurants, and it's union as well. So that union affiliation really appeals to me. So, I've got to make a decision what's going to be best for me. I think I'd be happier there, definitely, but I'm still struggling with that loyalty stuff. I don't want to leave people that, have people that I like, because it's hard for me to find people that I like to surround myself with in this life, and bosses that I like. It's hard to find people who genuinely, I think, care about me. So even though, I've recently been feeling, a little lack of respect there, lack of respect for what I do, the little things I do that apparently go unnoticed. And so, but I know that I would be mentally so much happier there. But professionally, I gotta figure out if that's gonna be the best decision for me, because I'm not gonna be able to transfer with UPS, which is a bummer. I would have to quit and reapply, which shouldn't be a problem, but I would lose my benefits. I'd have to wait 9 months to get those back. But if the other job is union, I should get benefits through them. I'd have to find out if that's going to kick in immediately, or if I'm going to have to wait a certain amount of time to receive them. Because it's really nice to finally have a job where I get benefits and perks and stuff like that. Especially at a part-time job, So, I mean, it's hard enough to find a full-time job that gives you free benefits. I guess I wouldn't say free. I pay my union dues for them, but benefits that you don't have to, pay out of pocket for, and at a full-time job. So, part-time job is incredible. But I'm also getting a little, I'm thinking about switching shifts there at UPS, because the morning shift is just becoming, if I'll get a car again soon, the morning shift is becoming far too expensive for me to get to. It's always been, without a car, it has always been hella inconvenient for me to get to work on time. Like in the summer when it's nice, I'll ride my bike, but I think I've mentioned this before, part of the road there is really, it's really sketchy, and I don't really feel comfortable riding my bike on that road at that time of day. So that shift has always kind of been a problem for me. The only time it was convenient was when I was working graveyard overnights. So I would get, I could take the bus to work at night, and then I would take the bus home after work in the morning. But I'm no longer working those graveyard shifts, so it's no longer convenient for me to work that shift. I'm thinking about moving to the night shift, which would get me more hours anyways, and be more convenient, because I could bus to and from work 4 of the 5 days. So the only time, Saturday morning would be the only time I would have to worry about getting to work or taking the lift if need be. So I got lots to ponder, and I'm over 9 minutes, so let's get to the waiver. I got 15 guys for you. I've got 6 guards and 9 forward/bigs. I'll start with the guards since it's smaller. Starting with Josh Hart. Josh Hart has been on fire this year, especially with Zion being out, Brandon Ingram being hurt. It was supposed to be Nickeil Alexander-Walker who was supposed to have the breakout. You'd be that third guy, that guard who had the breakout for the Pelicans this year. That has not been the case. It's been Josh Hart. Josh Hart has really stepped up his game offensively this season. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep it up when the Pelicans are healthy, but That's not something we need to be worrying about right now. We want production right now. Josh Hart's probably at the top of the guard list. Another guy who's really coming on lately with the injuries to his fellow teammates, Anthony Simons of the Blazers. It sounds like CJ McCollum, we don't know when he's going to be back. And Damian Lillard is anticipated to have an extended absence. He could be shut down for the rest of the season. This could be Anthony Simons' time to shine. He should be owned in all formats. I had to stop. I forgot to breathe there for a second. Other guards that I'm really into right now, Amir Kofi of the Clippers. He's had 2 pretty outstanding games in a row. With the injury to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, Amir Kofi has an opportunity to be that alpha in the offense that we all thought it was supposed to be Terrence Mann coming into this year. Turns out Mann's been okay, but he definitely hasn't had the year, hasn't had the impact fantasy-wise or real-wise that we kind of thought he would. Amir Kofi is getting it done, offensively at least. A couple of other guys. Alec Burks of the Knicks. Nothing too special there, but he does provide you a lot of cross category production, especially in a category like steals, where it's hard to find guys who can consistently get those steals. Alec Burks of the Knicks is getting them for you, and as long as he remains in the starting lineup for the Knicks, he will be a viable fantasy asset. Also, LeGwent Stewart, I'm really high on LeGwent Stewart. I own him in like all my dynasty leagues. The ceiling, he has no ceiling at this point. He just keeps getting so much better year after year after year. Who knows what kind of player he'll eventually turn out to be, but he is a very fantasy relevant option this year for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And lastly, among the guards, Patrick Beverley. Again, nothing super special there. Doesn't get a lot of minutes, but he's very productive in the minutes he gets. A lot of cross-category production. The experts on ESPN are actually recommending that he should be 100% owned in all leagues right now, categories or points leagues, because he really is providing sneaky good value at this point in the season. I don't see that particularly changing over the course of the season. Minnesota's relatively healthy. Patrick Beverley, never going to be an offensive threat, never going to be a great shooter, but he's going to get you a lot of stats in the less, the more rare categories, such as steals, blocks. He'll get you assists. He gets a lot of rebounds for guard. He is sneaky good from that guard position. Now moving on to the front court players. We're going to start with Jae'Sean Tate. I don't know why Jae'Sean Tate is under 50% because he's been really good all season long. And he was, had a really great rookie year last year, even though he was undrafted. Houston has been an absolutely great landing spot for him. Jae'Sean Tate moving forward should only get better, only become an even better fantasy asset. He's usable at both forward positions right now, which is also helpful. Next, we're going to go with Daniel Gafford of the Wizards. Now, he's finally having the breakout year that a lot of people have been anticipating for a while. Things could get a little muddled with the return of Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant is not on this list because he just came back. We don't know how those minutes are going to play out with Washington. He's a risky pickup at this point. He may be on the waiver wire video from next week. But as for this week, I still like Daniel Gafford. I think Daniel Gafford is the most potential. He gets a lot of blocks, a lot of rebounds. He's the best defender of the three for the Wizards. I don't think he's going to get his minutes are going to be hurt. I think ultimately Washington's going to find a way to make it work between the three, just as Cleveland has with Mobley, Jared Allen, and Kevin Love. Cleveland's been successful with that model so far this year, so Washington can do it too. Speaking of Kevin Love, he's on this list. I may be a homer. I'm a big Kevin Love fan. Been a Kevin Love fan basically my whole life. We're kind of the same age. He came from Oregon. I came from Oregon. We grew up. I wouldn't say we grew up together, but relatively speaking, we grew up together. Same age, came from the same area of the country. I was a sports reporter at that time in my life. He was the phenom, the Oregon teen phenom. I followed his career pretty closely. Big Kevin Love fan. I'm happy that he's been healthy. I'm happy that he's been productive for Cleveland. I hope that he can keep it up. I'm still hoping for a trade or a buyout of some sort to get Kevin Love into a better situation for his future. But as for right now, Kevin Love is still a very usable fantasy asset at the power forward and center position. Let's do Herbert Jones, the second-round rookie, who I was not a believer in at all. I didn't think he was going to be a very good NBA player. I was so incredibly wrong. He's having an outstanding rookie year, maybe on the all-rookie first team. He's in consideration for the rookie of the year to this point. He is getting a massive amount of steals. So if you're in a categories league and Herbert Jones is somehow available in your league, you need to pick him up because you will win steals every single week just because of Herbert Jones alone. So Herbert Jones, even in points league, still a fantastic pickup. But in the categories league, he should be 100% owned. There is no reason for Herbert Jones to be sitting on your waiver wire with the amount of steals and blocks, or stocks, as we call it in the fantasy community, that he's getting on a regular basis. Next, Jared Vanderbilt of the Timberwolves. He is, again, nothing special there. And a lot of people thought that he might lose his starting job when, Jaden McDaniels emerged. And Jaden McDaniels has emerged. Jaden McDaniels himself is a decent fantasy asset in a deeper league. But Jared Vanderbilt is a guy who is getting, his offensive game is really coming around. He's getting a lot of rebounds. He's getting blocks. He's the glue guy for the Wolves. And he is, a very good all-around fantasy asset. Much more important in categories than in points. But, again, he's a guy that can be usable in both formats. Aaron Gordon, with Michael Porter and Jamal Murray both being out for the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon has had to pick up a bigger role, something that he's used to throughout his career. Aaron Gordon has always been a player that is teased. He's a player that I'm really high on. I thought he was going to be a better player than he is. I still like him in redraft, and probably more of a points league guy than a categories league guy, but again, he's very usable in both. And if you're looking for some forward depth, Aaron Gordon should be at the top of your list. Cameron Johnson of the Suns has really come on lately over the last few weeks. He's looking like he's emerging as the third guy in that offense behind Devin Booker and Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton, I don't know why it's not DeAndre Ayton, but Ayton has some offensive deficiencies that Cameron Johnson doesn't necessarily possess. At this point, Cameron Johnson's not, getting a whole lot of categorical value. He's definitely more valuable in the points league, as he's getting a lot of points, a lot of three-pointers. But offensively, he can help you in categories offensively, but you're not get you rebounds, steals, assists, defensive stats, anything at all really. But Cameron Johnson is another guy who continues to get better year after year and is now very much a viable fantasy option here on the wing. And a couple of other guys, Onyeka Okongwu of the Falcons, of the Hawks, the other bird named team there in Atlanta, is finally healthy, and he's really played really well, despite the fact that Clint Capela is still a starter, is still around in Atlanta. Onyeka Okongwu's minutes and potential is definitely hindered by being in Atlanta still with Clint Capela, but Clint Capela is currently out, so Okongwu is a very good center addition, and I think moving into the second half of the season, he's still going to be a very good fantasy center on the low end of the spectrum because of his minutes cap and stuff. But in Dynasty, really high on Onyeka Okongwu, and in categories, he's going to get you a lot of blocks, rebounds, and field goal percentage, really high. So things like that I have to take into account. And lastly, Bull just got traded from Denver to Detroit. I love this. Detroit is the perfect landing spot for him to finally emerge. I really love Bull's talent. I love Bull's potential. I'm so glad he's not at Denver anymore. Bobo is definitely a guy that I'm going to be adding in most of my leagues because it's time to move on from Ben Simmons. I'm tired of holding Ben Simmons. He's not. I don't think he's going to play at all this year because Philly's not going to trade him this year. I mean, obviously you're holding Ben Simmons in Dynasty, but in redraft, it's time to cut our losses. I'm dropping Ben Simmons, moving someone who's hurt to IR, picking up Bobo. That's my plan for tonight or tomorrow morning. And I'm really excited to see what Bobo can do with starters' minutes here that he should get in Detroit. And I'm excited to see what he can do alongside a great guard like Cade Cunningham. So, that's it. That's the waiver wire video for this week. Tune in next Wednesday's waiver wire video. I'm not going to talk basketball every day. There's just not enough in the fantasy, world strategically to talk about basketball on a daily basis, but I will try to do at least a couple videos a week. I'll do the waiver wire Wednesday video every Wednesday, and my 8 things I like and don't like at least once a week. Hopefully, maybe two times a week. So, because I tried to do it every day last year, and I had trouble coming up with daily material. So, we're not going to do that this year. But yeah, so hopefully some of those players will help you this week. And those in weekly leagues, I know that you would probably prefer to have a waiver wire video on a Sunday. But waiver wire Sunday just doesn't sound as good as waiver wire Wednesday. So we're just gonna because Wednesday's waiver day in football, so we're just gonna carry that theme into basketball season 2. I apologize if it's an inconvenience. If it's because it's a couple of days late, but yeah, okay. I'm over 22 minutes. Let's mercifully end this thing. Peace, love, and nacho fries. Hang loose. Good luck, and hopefully 2022 is a better year for all of us. Good night.